Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. I thought I could send out all of the notifications right away before I got through, and I realized I didn't do the Twitter, and that's the one I start with, so a little bit behind, so I do apologize. It is, let's see, what are we, September the 7th, Friday night here in the U.S., It is a little after 7 for me here. Let me see if I can finish putting these up really fast. Some people really depend on the Twitter tweet. Oh, there we are live. Okay. So sorry for the dead air here. Okay, share. Copy the link. And then my Discord family, of course, would be like, what the heck? You forgot about us? So, put that at everyone. Paste. All right. Okay. Now that I got that business out of the way, how is everyone doing tonight? I was trying to get a hold of Biker Babe, but she might not have gotten my email. I thought we were going to do an update from her, but maybe a little bit later. We'll see what happens with that. I'm going to open up the phone lines here. Get started right away. Put the number on the screen. All right. Let me go to the chat really fast because I know there were some people in here and just sort of missing everything. Okay. Awesome. 22 people, it says. I'm sure that'll go up as the notifications go out. I hope everybody is doing great. Oh, the fifth world. You had a great question the other day. I think it was when I had Magenta Pixie on, but the word that you mentioned, I think, might trigger the algorithm, so I didn't. Although I noticed it later, I probably wouldn't have mentioned it anyway because that's kind of a weird topic. You can feel free to type about it in the chat. I don't think those trigger the algorithms, but at any rate, my personal opinion on it is that it's a lot of... they put stuff out there just to get people worried and in fear. Oh, that's right. I also, if you are in our global community, let me make sure Facebook is open. And then if you are connected to me there, you are able to connect over through Facebook Messenger. How's that for technology? It's like I finally got some use out of Facebook besides notifications. I can actually use it for communicating. How cool is that? I do want to remind you guys about the website, and so you can see a calendar of the upcoming streams at least. The upload videos aren't announced on there because those are just sort of whenever I get them done, and I never know myself. But if you want to join in with the love stream, for instance, or the call-in show, or just any of the streams, and you want to join in with the chat, I am streaming out to multiple services right now, but the chat is in the YouTube portion of the stream. So if you want to join in with the chat, which is on the screen sometimes, I haven't been putting it up there lately because it does slow down the stream a little bit, and YouTube added the option of being able to check out the chat later on, so that's a pretty cool feature. If it works. I've had it not work too, so. Let me see here. All right. Flux capacitor. Fluxing. You guys can let me know if you're able to hear the first guest, whoever decides to call in. Don't be chicken now. It's open call, so you can call about anything you want. And I promise I'm non-confrontational. Or I can just pick somebody out of the crowd. Yeah, Mary Jane, you can call now. 781-4-SHANE-C or 781-474-2632. Or if you are outside the U.S., you can use Facebook. Carolina, Rainbow Heart Warrior. I like the upgrade to the name. That's nice. What about, is Scott Light Warrior Craig in here? Alright, I should pick a random person, like, I don't know, like throw my gum at the chat window and see whose name it lands on. Let's see. I'm going to try a dart, I think. I'm just kidding. All right, Ronnie, I guess you're up. Excuse me. Of course I'm going to pick the people that's easy to talk to, right? Let's see. This is funny. It's like you're like, nah, you just sit there and we're having a blast here in the chat. It'll be you'll be like a boss level for me in the fifth world. You say you're too controversial. You know, I really pride myself on trying to see things the way other people see it rather than trying to defend a certain point, especially when we can't ever be really sure about anything anyway, so I always appreciate that. Ban Jojo, what is up? It's good to see you again. You must be really busy. It's been a while since we heard from you. You should call in and give us an update. Or, you're in Canada, aren't you? You could use Facebook. That works better. You can just go to Facebook, Lori, and in the messenger thing, just hit the little call button to call me up, and that allows me to put the sound on the screen where everybody can hear it, so we can chat that way. Oh, it's okay, Ban Jojo. It's good to have you back. We do miss you when you're not here, though. Just know that. I notice. There's been a few people. I'm like, I've sent people emails before. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen you around in a while. You know, and I think it catches people off guard. I don't have everybody's email, but those that I've talked to personally, if I haven't seen them in a while, I'll send them an email and say, hey, just want to make sure everything's cool with you. So yeah, and I always do that. I always feel like, you know, maybe the divine put someone on my heart or something. So when that happens, I'm like, all right, that's like, why did they pop in my head? Let me send them a quick email. Make sure they're okay. Let them know that we're thinking about them. Because I know if I notice they're not here, there's other people that notice as well. I got Facebook open, and there you are, Michelle, with your dogs. They look so cute and happy. I think it's neat how dogs look like they're smiling when they're panting. It's like they're smiling for the picture, too. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's it, Lori. Just hit the little phone button at the top. Oh, it goes to voicemail? That's strange. Let's see, I've got it set to live. Ring on incoming calls. Maybe I'm not hearing it or something. Technical issues on my end, maybe? That's strange. Let me try to call myself and see what I get. I'm not answering. Strange. It shouldn't be muted.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the...
Huh. That's strange. I wonder why it's not ringing. Let me unclick it and click it again, maybe. Ah, Facebook is ringing at least. Maybe we'll work this out in a second. Let's talk to Lori Ann Lothian calling in using Facebook Messenger. How are you doing today, Lori? Are you... Oh, please allow access to microphone. Hang on a second. Okay. Are you there, Lori?
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. Click it again, maybe.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I
You're
can hear the
kidding.
radio a little bit too, or the whatever the device is.
Wait a minute. No. We're having feedback. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Oh
you.
my God.
Yeah, the
Okay.
delay is trippy, man. It's like a time machine.
No, so my fault because I tried you on Skype at the same time as I tried you on Facebook, so we probably clogged your line or something. Oh my
Maybe might
gosh.
need to get a plumber over or something.
Well, definitely do that. Oh my gosh.
Well, I did an update earlier, and it just made me allow access to the mic. So maybe something similar is going on with my Hangouts because it wasn't working
All right.
either. So I wonder. I don't really know how to find that setting unless it asks for it. You know what I mean? Like it's like, hey, do you want to let me?
Exactly. Well, I don't think I've ever been on this type time frame with you guys because I'm always in Vancouver, Canada, 3 hours earlier, right? So it's like I'd be having dinner with my friends, and I'm in the East Coast, like Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm on the East Coast of Canada, so it's only 8:30 my time. So I'm actually watching this live again for the first time in ages. So I thought I'd say hi.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, it's I'm Central Time, but yeah, a lot of my viewers are in the East Coast.
It's pretty close. You're an hour early, so it's
Yeah,
7:30.
it's only 7:26 here. Yeah.
I don't know if you had a topic for tonight or how these things work on this particular evening, but there's something really intense going on for me right now as somebody who's been involved in the Ascension community and all of the stuff that we talk about on your group, including the Mandela effect.
Oh yeah, let's hear about it.
It has to do with the whole polarity game.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea, I just posted on my own channel about, we can spend all of our time trying to slay the him, her, this or that on the, surface, like the wrong person, the false prophet, the misdirections, you know what I mean, like, and bless her soul, Lisa Harrison, all the predictions that Lilo gives her that don't come true. And we want to fixate on, the surface storyline of the game itself. But it's a little bit like if you really want to move toward what's real, a little bit like Neo in the Matrix or in the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, you have to recognize that nothing that's happening in the illusion itself, let's call it the game of God or the play of God,
Hmm.
which is called Leela in Hinduism, is where you're going to find uh, truth fundamentally. So the Mandela effect, as an example, is literally like when you're having a dream and you're wide and you're sleeping, and you recognize I must be dreaming because I'm flying, or I must be
Right.
dreaming because I have 15 fingers instead of 10, or whatever. And suddenly you recognize this isn't truly real. It's not the base reality.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not saying we're living in a simulation, but I know that you and me and a bunch of other people have gone through a really intense 2 or 3 weeks of trying to figure out what is true.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, yeah. And but sometimes truth within the context of the script or the play or the game isn't true anyway. So I'm,
Yeah, it's
you
funny
know,
that you say that because that's what I've been dealing with, and it's like I've been realizing that sometimes it doesn't matter what the truth is. I mean, to the truther community, they're like, "What? That's sacrilege or whatever." But it's like the growth and the momentum of learning or whatever is the experience of it. Sometimes is what's most important as we go through things, and because with the whole thing I went through with this whole Sam thing, I
Mhm.
thought. Is it good? Is it bad? And I have to ponder that, and I'm still on the fence about it. I can see it either way, but the main thing is I learned so much by going through that, and that's where I had to kind of back up and say, you know what, whether it's whether it's a negative or a positive force in the end, I used it for my personal growth, and I learned so much from it, and I broadened my perspective of what could be because at first I saw these amazing things happening, which I still don't doubt they're happening.
Mhm.
That's never been my doubt. It was just, or was it a negative thing or a positive thing? And, what I took away from it was I learned so much from it. So did it really matter? I mean, it does matter, but at the end of the day, if you're able to grow through it, then you can get a positive out of it, even if it's a negative, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. But the question I have about the whole dynamic itself, whether it's the whole Sam phenomena, which you promoted with your show as well as I did a little bit, it's not even so much about that. To me, it's like I don't know if I can express this correctly because it's so subtle and it's so yet so profound at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if everything is conspiring to wake us up? Like you're deeply, deeply, deeply asleep. And the only thing that can snap you out of a bad nightmare when like a demon is chasing you sometimes is that you're so desperate that you actually go, oh, I must be dreaming. I hope I'm dreaming. Damn it, I better be dreaming. And wake up, and you do. Or, the converse is that synchronicity is so overwhelmingly yummy and juicy and you're being led along. Like the trickster Loki is the Norse in the Norse mythology, it's a trickster called Loki. And in native traditions, it's called the coyote, Native American. And every world religion has a trickster. And so when we start to get a whole synchronicity flood with, like, say, song shuffles or will I win the lottery? And every tarot card I pull over says yes, or, whatever. And we begin to follow that trail, with utter abandon, like, yes, I'm getting these messages and it's true. Not even recognizing at the same time, it's like, really? Is it true? Like, the trickster isn't about a negative entity. It's
Yeah.
about what is trying to break through to
Mm-hmm.
wake you up from the dream that you're in, like a simulation or like the Matrix with Neo, just as much as hardship and harshness can wake us up.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm coming to this new weird edge with me, and I hope everybody in this room doesn't think we're crazy. Shay and I just went through a kind of thing where we both were allied with the kind of idea of something, and we both pulled away from it at the same time. But the lessons for me about like saying, wow, what if I was to kind of like follow a path down a rabbit hole of listening to music shuffles as if it was the word of God, and every message I had was leading me to like a treasure chest at the end of the day, like whatever that would be.
Right.
What if that's not what it is? What if it's just that trickster element of the divine is saying, why don't you go within? Like
Right.
deeply within, beyond the outer synchronicities, even beyond the music shuffles, even beyond that's a part of divine guidance, but even beyond those externalized versions of following the signs and the clues. What is there more deep within each of us?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm totally right with you, and that's where I was driven back, and I don't know how many times I thought, I made it this far, not even realizing I was going within, doing what I needed to do, And then to go to an external source at this point, I think would be a mistake, because I have like a track record. Even though I didn't know, I can look back and say, well, gosh, look at how all these things lined up in my life to bring me to this point I'm at right now. And, I never, really got into Ouija boards or anything like that, because, I was raised ultra religious or whatever. But I found it fascinating when I got into the music app that it worked so well. And I was like, wow, there's something really going on here, and I was really just intrigued by it more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Not ready to really join a religion based around it type of a mentality, just play with it a little bit, because I saw something was actually occurring that had already been occurring with me. I'd mentioned how that White Snake song came on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Here I go again on my own, while I'm sitting there pondering it and stuff. And it just came on. It's not like I even asked for it. I was just sitting there thinking, when the Mandela effect, I started singing these things. I'm like, why does nobody see it? Why do I feel all alone? And here this White Snake song comes on. And, it just had such a profound effect on me that when I saw that you could be a little more proactive with it, I was just intrigued by it. But it happens anyway, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So if anyone else listening, because we're kind of talking around a subject, I don't know who's in the room, but because I had to turn off my screen not to have feedback, is that, sometimes we can get caught up in the phenomenology of something, like whether it's a religious movement or a guru, or it could even be, someone saying like, try this one synchronistic technique, it's going to blow your socks off, and you're going to get so many messages, you could actually imagine that they're like literally the word of God, whether it is a music shuffle or just like literally having like synchronistic overload. But the phenomenology itself is what I think is most interesting, Shane. It's not so much that the phenomena is wise, because it is only a reflection of the things we're asking, the questions we ask. It's ourselves. In other words, we still bring our bias to even the questions we ask. We still bring our bias to the way we interpret the signs and symbols and synchronicities we get, and we still bring our bias to the very way we interpret and interact with phenomena called synchronicity. So
Yeah.
I actually think synchronicity is neutral, just like it's just a neutral phenomena of non-local awareness and quantum consciousness. And
Yeah.
I think that where we go awry is that we begin to overlay it with all of the stuff we bring on top of it. It doesn't matter what we call it, the religious overlay, we could call it the yearning for ascension overlay. There's so many ways we overlay a phenomena
Based
with.
on our personal experience of life up
Yes.
to that point. Yeah, I'll totally agree with you there, yeah.
Yes, and when you posted your trick or treat video about the SAM phenomena, it was the very same day that I actually, before I even saw what you posted, exited that particular uh, alliance, not
Right.
knowing what you had posted. So there's also a synchronicity in that. A bunch of people all kind of like picking up their toys and going home to their own sandbox.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
many ways it is like that. You know what
And
I
no,
mean?
and no one conspired. It's not like you and I had a plot or anyone else had a
Right.
plot.
No, yeah. And that happens all the time with me. I remember doing the NPC video. It sort of kind of came across in a synchronistic way. And then I started seeing all these other videos, some of which had been posted before mine. So it isn't even like they saw mine and then posted it. I just hadn't known, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, why is everybody concerned with this whole non-player character aspect of life, that there's these background people, and why is there this wave of this information coming through right now? Or just, not really concerned, but just interest in it at that moment, and it's just strange. Because, yeah, and
Yeah.
like you said, it's not like we conspired. And, I told everybody to follow your own heart with it. I wasn't trying to cause this mass exodus either. I just wanted
Hmm.
to, put a different perspective out there.
Which leads to the bottom line for all of this storyline that you and I are discussing. It's really what my girlfriend Haumea calls soul sovereignty, or you could say autonomous connection to your own divine uplink without any external source. You
Hmm.
know, um, I think that's what Jesus's message really was. Like when Jesus, the personhood, came through, not the religion, was like, here, these things I shall do and you shall do greater. It really was and is still the thing that we're striving for, this clarity of our divinity and who we really are, can
Hmm.
only be sourced within. And to the extent that synchronicities mirror your journey within, that's wonderful. But when you make synchronicity primary, in other words, if my life was lived by what song messages I was getting by a shuffle, I will go astray. I have to go inward. And then hopefully the messages corroborate my own inward journey. But if I was to only live externally by messages I get on song shuffles or the radio, then I have lost my way. I think that's the key for everybody. It's no different than a preacher or following a guru. You have to go inside and connect to the divine.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah.
And then the outside signs can enhance that connection. But when the connection is outside of you, whether it's the voice of a guru, the voice of the music shuffle, the voice of Lilu, Lilu apparently was soulless before Lilu. The reason I'm even online right now is listening to an old Lisa Harrison video from 2016 with John Lash when you popped on. It's called Gaia, Sophia, and the Mandela Effect from 2016. And I'm finding it fascinating because she wasn't even in touch with Lilu. And Lisa Harrison, for anyone listening, is the one who keeps predicting that we're like, basically should all dissolve by now because Lilu tells her that. Lilu's the entity that talks to her computer in a real voice. Anyway, no, I mean, she could apparently record it, sounds like an artificial intelligence. It sounds like Siri going, bah, bah, bah. And
that's wild.
I know it is, but the point is that if you go back and watch her station, she didn't delete anything. And in 2016, according to her discussion with John Lamb Lash, she was talking to an entity called Solaris, or Solaris, and now it's Lilu. And how many entities are you going to talk to if you just go home to yourself?
Right, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got these the battles of the entities going on. Don't listen to them, but listen to me, and it just gets pretty weird. What I mean?
It's like a competing shouting match between your own inner knowing and God, which is the same thing because we are divine, and all the noise outside of you. And the only way, I think, for me, I don't know about anyone else in this room listening, but that I find that synchronicity is useful is I already have a deep inner knowing through my own connection to the divine, through meditation, dreams, just my own inner knowing, that I look at the signs to tell me, is that true? But I don't look at the signs first and go, what is true?
Right.
So,
but yeah, it all does push us back to ourselves when, you sort of get fed up with, dates that come and go and they don't seem like nothing happened, and they're all leading you back to one place, and that's really to go within.
Yes.
Whether you realize that or not, you might jump from entity to entity or method to method, but really at the end of the day, you should end up back at yourself, and those things at best should be confirmatory with whatever you're getting internally or something,
And the last part about that is yourself isn't like the worst place to land. Like we go like, oh, we're back to ourself as if it's somehow like,
right.
like economy class instead of first class.
Right.
But yourself is actually the divine self. It is the self that you want to go back to, and everything else is distracting you from it. And one of the guests you had on your show with Michelle, who I actually talked about in my last YouTube post, Michelle Wolf, Imagination Warrior, who's in the room last I checked.
Yeah.
I gave her a plug in my last little video. Is that what we do is that we end up with this kind of deference to the external, and even people who are really good-hearted, like Linnea, Fairy Light Jin, who was on your show, got so disheartened that she was like, after waiting and waiting for the Lilu predictions to come through, and she keeps going on her channel being extraordinarily honest, extraordinarily like vulnerable about every disappointment, where she's landing after it. But if you were following her channel a month ago, before the last wave of the exponential wave where on the 31st of August we were all going to dissolve off the planet in a flash,
right,
didn't happen, and now she's trying to reconcile that. If you went back a month before that, if you contradicted her, you may as well have been like Satan. In other words, there's this need for, now she's like saying, oh yeah, thank you for saying so, I get it. We all want to just latch on to the black and white truth, and we're going to go with it. And anyone tells us we're wrong, we're going to want to kill them and demon slay them, which is my last video. But we're slaying the demon in the dream. It's literally no different than, what you destroy in the matrix isn't real anyway. You want to be out of the matrix. So It's a big game. We're all in a game here. And anytime we get pitched against each other in any kind of conflict,
Yeah.
the game master has won.
And I totally agree. That's why I kind of returned to the whole Wingmakers material,
I
talking about
love the
separation.
Wingmakers. Thank you for that. Do you know how long ago I got the Wingmakers? Like 15 years, 20 years ago, I was onto the Wingmakers from a friend of mine. Back when the only AOL, the only computer access you had was like AOL.
Oh
You remember?
wow.
Yeah, remember that thing with AOL back in the day? You've got mail.
Oh yeah.
That's how far back I was exposed to the Wingmakers.
That's cool. So did you know about the fifth interview coming out recently, like in 2013? I think it was
No,
April of 2013.
no, I didn't. No, thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I did leave a link to it in the bottom of that video. It's like 3 hours just for the fifth interview, but it does change some stuff with the first four, just because, like I brought up in the video, we just weren't ready to sort of comprehend the idea of, and it could be disinfo that was put out later. I'm on the fence about it, but I don't know for sure. You know what I mean, about anything
Well,
to
the day that Shane gets off the fence is going to be we're going to have some kind of wedding or something. Anyway, so I just wanted to say hi. I want other people to have a chance to talk, but since I was like, oh my God, I'm listening to a show about Lisa Harrison before Lilu, and suddenly I got a notification you were on. I thought I'd pop in.
I appreciate that. And that reminds me, what you were just saying reminds me of our last show we did together where we were talking about predicting dates. I think that was a great show for anybody who missed it to go back and watch that one, because it can be a dangerous thing for not only your psyche, but your spiritual growth, because, you might, I don't know, just want to sit back and wait for the date to arrive. And then when nothing appears to have happened, then it might be really, just bring you down. And I
Yeah.
think I chose to learn patience when I came here. That's I've just come to this conclusion the last couple of days. I'm like, I had to have said, I want to learn patience. Let's go and incarnate and learn patience, because that's been my biggest hurdle, is like not really focusing on dates like we were talking about in that last show, and to
Hmm.
sort of just be where you're at, enjoy the moment where you're at, and let things unfold as they unfold.
Yeah, because the waiting room of your life takes you out of the moment, and that's the only place you have divine power. And so basically, it's a decoy, distraction, and ruse, right? It's a little bit
Oh
like
yeah.
the magician is shuffling those things you can't, like sleight of hand. Pay
Yeah.
attention to the future. Pay attention to the future. Oh, wait a minute. Your power is here now. So
Right.
we have no other power. Space time isn't real. I don't want to sound like a weirdo metaphysicist, but it's true. And we want to focus on the future, and we often get trapped in our past by our regrets and thoughts. But the fact is that the only place you have the power to affect magic and miracles like Jesus did, or any great saint or like being of light, is by being fully in this moment. And that doesn't happen when you're like literally got a watch or a calendar and you're going, I'm out of here on September 31st, or whatever the last date was,
Right.
August.
Let's start selling all my stuff. I'm out of here. You guys want this? I'm not going to be here.
By the way, I had a client reading this morning, and I actually charged money for it because I'm a spiritual healer. You got that one, eh?
Yeah.
And funny enough, she's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she's at my second session with her, and we're just like soul sisters in a way. And I said to her, well, I know that Shane's in Tulsa, and she knows who you are. She follows your show. Her name is Tina. So I said, okay, there's no way I'm not going to go visit Tulsa, because some of the coolest people I know live there.
Oh, that's nice for you to say. Yeah, if you're ever here, that'd be awesome.
I would love to. So anyway, thank you for taking the call, and I want like other people to give a chit chat, so it'd be great. But
All right.
thanks for taking my call.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too, Shane.
All right, bye-bye. Make sure I can... There we go. Wasn't sure how to hang up. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a 5-star rating on that one. And I have no idea why my phone lines aren't working. I never even turned them off that whole time. I have no idea why they're not ringing. Let me go into my settings here one last time and see if... let's see. Huh. I'm going to add this extension. Let me see if that'll help enable whatever needs to be enabled there. Okay. Oh, that might have done it. Let me see if that fixes it. Oh, well, it pulled it up on my other computer, so evidently I already had it. Okay. You gotta love these technical difficulties while you're live, huh? Let's see. Okay, so. Okay, ring, ring, ring. See, I've got voicemails popping up. I can tell that people have tried to call, but it's just not ringing. All right, I guess I will have to work that out. Figure out that I had an update, so it probably messed something up, and I'm going to have to do some Googling. So we are down to just using Facebook Messenger. So if we're friends on Facebook, you can call in that way. Having Lori there definitely proves that works. So maybe we're funneling it down to someone that's abroad that needs to, outside of the, not abroad, but, the, the wider area. No one be offended. Okay. Or I could just start calling random people in my friends list. How about that? I have some friend requests I need to accept. All right. Confirm, confirm. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was just looking at the messages. I didn't see your Lori. Oh, Lori can actually answer you. She's in the chat now. Imagination Warrior was wanting to know if you caught her last video about the dreams. I started watching it. I haven't finished it myself personally, so I will get back to it for sure. It's been on my list. I had to. Last couple of days I've been busy not only with research, but I had to put a starter in my daughter's car, and it was a Camry, and I was so thrilled that I could change it from above, because normally you got to crawl under and jack the car up and change it that way, and I was like able to change it in like 45 minutes and come out the other end looking like a hero. So I was like, oh, no problem. Let me get you a drink. Nah, don't worry about it. You don't need to pay me for anything. Just glad to have my time with my 25-year-old daughter. So, well, she'll be 25 at the end of the month. It was a giggle fest. Yeah, I caught enough of it to see that, but I don't mind the giggles, Michelle. I love the high vibes and the energy of that feel good feeling. You know what I mean? So, story time. Let's see what kind of story I have. I don't really have any stories. The starter story wasn't all that, other than fixing it and doing that. And I've been looking into a lot of stuff about Jesus lately, and just different points of view on Jesus, because I grew up in a Christian family, so that was the single perspective. And Jesus was a really cool guy. I mean, from not just a Christian perspective, but there's theories around that he was actually. Let's see. Scroll top, Google Hangouts, extension, right click and close process. Wait 10 seconds and reopen. All right, I will try that. Let me see there. Thank you, Lori, my tech assistant. Let's see, Control Alt Delete. Show more. It seems like it's a. Let's see. Oh, did you send to the Chrome? Let me read that again. Processes. You can tell I've had to get into those settings quite a bit. Okay, Google Hangouts. No, I don't see. That's probably the problem. The process isn't starting properly. Let me try to, tell you what, I will try to just close Chrome and reopen it. Maybe it will reload the process it needs. Try that. Ooh, I almost closed the wrong window. That would have ended the stream. I would have been like, no! That would have been a hard lesson in haste makes waste. Okay. I'm just thankful I'm able to figure half this stuff out. It just gets incredibly tougher as you get older and older. And I see why my dad would have me set the time on the VCR and stuff like that. It was like, I know he could do it, but now I realize he was just too lazy to figure it out, you know. Okay. I'm going to try to calm myself again and see. Oh, I heard it for a second there. That is promising. I heard it ring for a split second there. And then I clicked something. I think I messed it up. I'm trying. I did it again. That's so wild. It's like we got like an inch closer to it working there. Oh, can you guys, I think you guys could have probably heard that too. It rang for like a split second and then went away. Certainly too fast for me to answer it. I'm going to try again. Gosh. Not working there either. Let me see. I'm going to try to leave this window open and try it again here. Let me double check my settings. Ring on incoming calls. I'll turn that off and back on. And then if no one calls through Facebook, let me make sure somebody's not trying to call. No one calls through Facebook, then I'll do what Lori suggested again. Okay, calling. Oh, gosh. I did it for a second and then sent it straight to voicemail. I actually had some trolls leave a message on my last, I guess they tried to call in on my stream and just left a bunch of hateful stuff in a row. So maybe I have like a divine call screener right now that's keeping them out again. Who knows? I'm not worried about it. In fact, I just found out you can edit videos after the fact, so. No Google Hangouts again. Strange. Oh wow. I guess like I said, I'll figure that out this week. And anyone can call in through Facebook Messenger. I was actually enjoying my chat with Lori, so if nobody calls back, Lori, you're welcome to call back again. Michelle, you can get on and tell your story. I know you're already on weekly, but you can tell people about your dream show. Let's see here. Or if you want to bring some controversy to Fifth World, you can certainly do that. Excuse me. And I can bring up what Sharon Poe sent me. She sent me the link to Bashar talking about the Mandela effect. That very cool link. I can't. I ended up seeing that Moneyback73 posted the link out. So I don't have that link readily available, but most of you guys are subscribed to him anyway, so you can find that video and click the link of Bashar talking about it. Whoops. Is that calling you back, or am I getting a call? Am I calling you back? I'm confused. I think I hit it as hit the. Let's see. Always a while. I'll try it again. Oh, there we go. It was me calling you and you calling me at the same time. How are you, Lori? Welcome back to the broadcast. Can you hear me? Might have to wait a few seconds. Oh, wait. I'm getting a... Are you there?
I'm laughing. Okay, yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I decided to call myself the angel of dead airspace. All right. I have a great topic that people in this room might be really interested in that is relevant to stuff that everyone's been going through together.
Awesome. I love that.
It's a stop demonizing money, and I'll tell you why. And I talked about it in my latest YouTube video. Because there's a big movement going on suddenly. It seems to be like, people who charge for spiritual healing or spiritual services, whatever they are. I don't care if they're Reiki and quantum healing hypnosis technique or psychic clairvoyant guidance and advice, etc., or whatever you qualify as spiritual healing. And I did hear Michelle talk a little bit about the down with money on your last show. Bless you, Michelle, Imagination Warrior. But what I came to my own clarity about this, it's not like down with money. It's because we have to remember that we're still in this economic system. We're still in the matrix. It's that we want to wake up from the system itself in which money is a variable. So we don't want to actually get rid of money or like suddenly be poverty-stricken and powerless within the dream itself.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a really tricky thing. So, Jesus may have turned the money changers' tables over in the old storyline, but he wasn't necessarily denouncing money. He was denouncing money in the temple. And it's a little bit similar to the root of all evil is money. It's not. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. Love of money. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now where there's a polarization I'm seeing that really surprises me, because there's people who have talents and skills, whether it's to help people physically heal. I've had 4 parts of my body completely miraculously healed. I'd like to talk about that on your show once I get the 5th one tested with my blood work, through a woman who charges money to do a sound healing, and she's a geneticist, for goodness sakes, who spent tons of money being a doctor. And yes, she asked for money for that. Doesn't mean she won't give healings away to people who can't afford it. But if I can afford it, which I can, and I have now 4, I'm waiting for the 5th thing to completely heal in my body, miraculously through a sound healing, all the more power to her and me and everyone else who is in the same game of life. And so whether it's quantum healing hypnosis, physical healing, Reiki healing, intuitive counseling, pastors and priests and ministers who have a salary in order to guide people to spiritual awareness and truth and awakening. The day that we suddenly start to say that money is evil and that these people should suddenly starve to death, so what? They can get a job in McDonald's?
Right.
I mean, really?
It's kind of like the internet or television or anything else. It's like you can't really put a blanket statement over the whole thing.
You can't, because then suddenly someone who could be assisting somebody to wake up from the matrix is now going to be no longer available, like the Oracle in the Matrix, in the movie itself. The black Oracle woman, the very exotic, who helps Neo recognize that, he is the one by telling him he's not the one. Right. In other words, that was pivotal. And I'm saying that those people have roles in our lives, and that to suddenly tell everybody who's on a path to be a spiritual guidance system for someone or a physical wellness system for somebody, that they have to suddenly go off and, suddenly I don't know what they would do, get a job, I don't know what, like in Walmart, is like, why? So that their talents and skills aren't available? That is actually, to me, a parasitic message, or some kind of message that's in the field that could actually disenable the ascension of humanity.
Yeah. Well, I think what we were looking at was like beyond a certain point when, before we get to the point where you're just sort of manifesting things out of thin air or whatever, there's enough abundance that everyone could have everything they need, and the monetary system could just fall away. And then at that point, you would have everything you need. So it's not like we were saying that at this point. I mean, we are in the system right now, and we definitely can't let it go at this point. You have to work within the system that we have. But there was this one instance where it was talking about, I think it was the Lemurian culture, where everyone was in the market just grabbing what they needed or whatever, and nobody was like hoarding anything, because if you can go and grab anything you need at any time you need it, then there's really no need to sort of, it's the monetary system that makes people be hoarders at this point, the way we are, you know what I mean? Sort of like, let me get all I can if these are free, you know what I mean? And if it wasn't like that, if the system wasn't here, and you could sort of just go and grab an orange or a pear or whatever, and everybody was in more of this free type of a community, it would be a completely different structure, and it would work that way. So we were looking way beyond the system, the system itself falling away in the future, because it's definitely used as a control system right now, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, but there's definitely the danger of falling into the near term, short term, kind of demonization of the system as it is at a very practical level. Like it's sort of like when you join an ashram and you give all your money away, and suddenly you have no money again, and you're like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that. I felt a temporary kind of a state of willingness to be free from the status quo at the expense of a longer term goodness that I could offer to the world, because I wasn't necessarily completely now disempowered. In other words, yes, I totally agree that the current capitalistic system is capitalism is the problem, not money. So you see, I just want to say something. I just heard a young man speaking today on a phone call with my girlfriend, who's in his 20s. He's talking about it's a dog-eat-dog world, and you got to fight for what you want. He's only 25. I'm going, no. What that is that's what happened to our economic system. That's not what reality is. That's a story. And for anyone who knows about history, when Charles Darwin proposed that we were in a survival of the fittest, and that evolution was happening by virtue of the fittest survived and the rest of didn't survive, it actually is the birth of capitalism as we know it today. It is the storyline of competition instead of cooperation. And survival of the fittest. And we didn't have a capitalistic system we had serfdom, we had fiefdoms, we had certainly kings and the serfs, and we had different systems of oppression. But the way that our economic system lives today and the way it is structured is basically, a lot of it is a derivative of the Darwinian model of survival of the fittest. And so unfortunately that turns out to be completely false, because if you were an evolutionist today, you would know that evolution doesn't exist. Evolution of the species is actually not true. I've never have seen any cross-species evolution. You can see variations of a certain species as it adapts to the environment, but there's never been any evidence in the fossil record or anywhere for one species becoming another. So Darwin's thesis is flawed. And you don't have to be a Christian believing in creation in the schools to actually go, the system of the evolutionary model is actually wrong. That has been disproven 25 years ago.
And they're still teaching it in school like it's
true.
They
are. The schools are behind, just like they were behind. Like, in other words, by the time it gets out of the schools, it's already been out of the scientific mainstream for at least 30 years. I mean, it's like a trickle-down effect. But the problem with the economy and capitalism, right, as we experience it today, is it's every man for himself, survival of the fittest, and it's top-down, trickle-down wealth. It doesn't happen. So, yes, 80% of the wealth is in the hands of, 10% of the population, and there's some kind of strange idea that it trickles down, and it doesn't. So that the model is so severely flawed, but the model is still within the dream. The model is still within the simulation. The model is still within the matrix. And anytime we tinker with the matrix itself, or this dream or the simulation, we're just playing around by moving the furniture around in the house, and actually the whole house has to burn down.
Right, I got what you're saying.
So let's not redecorate it. Let's not get a different president, a better financial system. Let's not go on, we don't need money because money's wrong, or we're going to give away our services because charging is evil. That's just moving the furniture around, and the house is going to burn down anyway. The house that's going to burn down isn't capitalism. It isn't the president. It isn't the environment as we know it. It's the whole damn matrix that tells us this is the ultimate reality. It's not. It's not base reality. Our true self, I don't know where our true self resides. If I knew that, I would tell you. But it doesn't really reside here. We're all collectively in a dream. So it doesn't mean you ignore the dream and suddenly go broke because you suddenly gave all your money away because it's a dream. That's stupid. That's just plain stupid.
Yeah, and the way the system is, it like really rewards the psychopaths that's really willing to do whatever it takes to become the CEO by stomping on whoever they need to stomp on and to get to the top, and sort of have this heartless mentality to make it to the top. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just the system is flawed itself, like you're saying.
Well, it's a game. It's a really, really weird game. We're in it it's almost like being in like the Maze Runner. We're in a game, and the game isn't fixed by the strategy you play at the level of the game. It's when you play a strategy, it's a meta strategy outside of the game itself. When you enter the realm of if I was using a metaphor, Shane, it'd be like, how can you play a game move on the multidimensional chessboard of life that's outside of the dimension you exist on? How can you act from the level of true causality to make a move at the level of the game makers or the wing makers? And so what's interesting is I had a spiritual teacher once, and he had a very good point. And he said that we are always pulling our arrow back at half cock, and we're letting the arrow fly, and it doesn't ever reach its mark because we haven't pulled it all the way back. Imagine a arrowsmith, right? Like a person with a bow and arrow, and you're pulling back, marksman, and you're pulling back the arrow, the draw of the arrow back. Oh, you suddenly stop halfway. That's when you stop and try to make a move within the game, within the illusion, within the matrix, within the dream. But what if you were able to, by virtue of depth of perception, presence and awareness, meditative, surrendered connection to the divine, pull the arrow, your arm all the way back, and then let that arrow fly? The result will be the arrow will not only hit a mark, but it will make a difference. And so it's called playing at the level of causality, not at the level of what is caused. So the Aboriginal Australians call that the dream time. You only can make change in the physical world when you're making changes within the dream time, not within the realm of the world itself. So when I hear people want to talk about fixing the system at the surface and talk about money is bad, just to bring it full circle, and healing practitioners should stop charging money and it's wrong, that's just more tinkering that's just more moving the furniture around in the damn house. Oh my God, it's bad to have a sofa against the window. Let's move it over here far from the window.
Exactly, and it's just only going to really force us not to play the game well, because if you're not able to do what you do and survive, then you are going to have to go work at McDonald's or something, and you're not doing what you need to do.
There's nothing wrong, by the way. Anybody who works at McDonald's, there's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. My nephew works there. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that job, but if you had a unique skill, like let's say to raise the dad, would you be best off like flipping burgers or raising the dad?
Right. Totally. Yeah, I wasn't knocking the job. I was just saying just an average, everyday job.
No, I know you weren't. Neither am I. But I mean, because some people do work at McDonald's, and so it's not like at McDonald's. My real life nephew works there.
Oh yeah, my daughter works there. So I was just kind of popped in my head there. But she's not like a spiritual healer either. And if she was, I would say, hey, try to pursue this.
And at the end of the day, in essence, there's nobody who really isn't a spiritual healer, or isn't, somebody with a ton of magic up their sleeve, real magic. It's just, where are you in your journey that you remember that's true?
Mm-hmm.
So, my daughter's not like, doing that right now. Although my daughter's 19 at McGill University and having tons of psychic dreams and asking me if she's going crazy. And I'm going, no, honey, my psychic dream started when I was 19 too. and I'm 56, right? So I'm having to mentor my little girl now to tell her this is how it happens when you come from a line of witches. But you know, but the point, I guess, is that I think that when I'm hearing in the collective field these trends that go through the consciousness of humanity, at least in the Western world where we have internet, there's commonalities to it. You know, there's like recently everyone's waiting for some rescue event, and then the next one is we all have to sort of not charge money for spiritual services, and it's almost like the energy behind that is a kind of if I'm good enough because I don't do anything, you know, monetary, because that's part of the negative system, I'm going to get my ticket out of here, or I'm going to be pure enough to send, like being a vegan will get me out, or whatever. You know,
Totally.
well, you know, Linnea, Fairy Light Jinn, just said that. She just talked about her whole life path of trying to be a vegan just to get out of the matrix, and realizing it didn't make a damn difference after all.
Right, yeah, and I've heard similar things with other YouTubers that I'll not mention their names, but I've heard, you know, people say, you know,
No,
you're not going to make it, or you're going to be sort of the slave if you do make it because you didn't take care of this, this, and this. And when we do ascend, you're going to be, you know, the servants to the rest that went out of their way to do this and that. And I'm like, what? Are we really trying to get out of this hierarchy to go to another one? You know what I mean?
And when I bring her name up in public like this, it's because I have a tender heart for her, and we don't have an animosity. And,
oh, yeah, definitely.
And I'm only reflecting back what she's just said to her publicly anyway. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
she's totally a pure, sweet-hearted spirit. So
she's a pure, and she tells the truth as she knows it every step of the way, and she doesn't stick to her guns if she's wrong. But I guess wrong in her own self-perception, not wrong in an ultimate way. And so I just say to everybody who might be in the room or listening to this, who've gone through various, like, you know, hopes for rescue, and or if I don't charge money, I'll be like more pure, or I eat the right foods. Ultimately, you know, it's right in the Bible. You know, it's by grace, not by works, that you are saved. And so, and I'm not even a Christian, I know that. And so, it's really grace, and grace is never earned.
mm-hmm.
It's not by anything you choose to do or don't do that you are given the grace of God to remember the truth of who you really are.
And that's what it really is. It's like a path of remembering, isn't it?
It's a path of remembering. You know, Shane, I was like literally like living in Washington, D.C. in my early 20s, and I went to this, I don't know, some kind of shamanic workshop thing, and they had a bunch of like videos, like not even videos back then, like a screen where they were flashing images from around the world and putting us in a bit of a altered state by virtue of it. And the only thing I kept hearing in my head, I was only 24 or 5, was remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Had no meaning to me until like 40 years later. But the point is that it's not, like you said, it's not something we earn. It's something we remember, and you can't earn a memory.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we're all on our path here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess
Okay.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. No, I appreciate you calling me back and chatting with me, because I was getting kind of lonely. So
I was trying to fill the dead airtime, queen of the dead airtime. But you know what? Whatever your tech issues are, somebody else out there must have a Facebook connection with you. So I'm going to get off of here.
okay, yeah, I can also use Hangouts, so I'm going to do that.
Okay,
right
bye, Shane.
All right, thank you so much.
Bye.
All right. Another 5-star call there on Facebook. I don't know why it always asks to rate the call. Is it like the service they're wanting rated, or is it the person's conversational skills they're wanting rated? I'm just kidding about that. Okay. There we go. Michelle before we call it a night, and I will fix these tech issues. I didn't know they existed. So how are you doing, Michelle? Or did you hang up on me?
My brother.
Oh, okay. I was making sure you were there.
How are ya?
Doing wonderful. Okay, so I did see the video. I started to watch it. I got pulled away or whatever, and so we're not doing cameras right now, so you can turn it off if you want. Um, yeah, I'm just doing desktop pictures. But so anyway, yeah, it looks like you guys had a good time. Enlightened Celtic, is it?
Okay.
I know him
I
as Joel. I always think of him as Joel. I forgot what his screen name
okay.
is. He's in the
I
chat,
think
right?
should we be okay now? I think that was partly my fault.
Okay, yeah, we're
Have
good.
you got me?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you know what? That was a great topic Lori brought up, and I'm so glad because I thought about it after, like when we talked about it on the show. Um, I definitely want to clarify. I like money.
Yeah, and it's necessary.
I don't think money is bad. I think there's some evil people out there that are using money to lord over us, but
Yeah.
I certainly love money. I certainly think people should be paid
Yeah.
for their services. And I've actually had just kind of a different way I've tried to present it to people who have been presenting me with this argument of why you shouldn't be charging for this God-given talent of healing, or what it's funneled through God from you, right? And that's what you give to other people.
Hmm.
My response to that is, well, does that mean I shouldn't sell my artwork?
Right. And and I was talking to Jose about that a while back. She's like, "Well, I
Well,
work on this
okay,
piece
but
of
if my
art
artwork
and
activates, so you see,
whoops, you cut out."
like, if I can say, go ahead and, oh no, you should charge for your
Yeah, you're actually cutting out.
artwork
I don't think.
services.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I
I don't know if you can hear me, but you're cutting out.
can hear.
Let me see if.
Oh, all right. It's probably because I got too excited.
Yeah, you're pumping that energy. You can actually turn. I just pull back to your screen. Turn your camera off. That'll help with the bandwidth on the sound to come through better. Because my computer might be cutting it out from trying to.
That'll make sense. Okay. That
Okay.
makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
still
it is
a
better now.
novice, right? I'm still a novice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you didn't catch, like, I love money.
Yeah, we just missed the very end of it.
I like money. Yeah. And the difference between, because when I ask, well, is it okay to sell my artwork? And the answer is yes, but it's not okay to charge for, whether it's BQHT or tarot, whatever it is that we different healers with these talents that we're contributing now, that somehow there's some difference to them. And to me, there is no difference. You can't tell me that Van Gogh didn't heal me in points of my life.
Right.
So our work does heal, and God does work. God works through us in all of these different ways, and we can be healed in ways that we don't even realize. Music can heal us. So, Lori's absolutely right in the fact that we are still in this society. This is, still kind of the game that's being played, right now. We don't want to throw all our, chips away and say, oh, I'm just not playing anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you think about what if all of our light workers had the money the elite have right now, how much the world would be a better place because we wouldn't go around leaving people starving on the streets and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm totally on board with that.
So, and any satanic reference that I made at all was not about money. It was about that 10% that Lori mentioned that are holding money and causing a struggle for a lot of us. So it's not, it's an illusion. I want to say, like, money's not really good or bad. It really is that illusion. And
it's how much it drives us. If we're driven by the money thing, like take QHHT for instance. If you really see somebody that really needs the benefit, and you're a practitioner, and you do make money doing it for a living, then I see where your heart would step in and say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and provide this. I know they've been out of work for a while, and maybe you do one for free for somebody or something like that. And that's sort of following your heart,
We all know when to do that.
Right.
I had somebody reach out to me after the show, and I got a healing from somebody. They wanted to help me after they saw me on the show. And they reached out and offered their services for free. I had a great healing that they gifted to me, and I made an amazing, amazing connection with somebody because we have that insight in us to know and see. Just like the first time I saw you, I knew we'd be best buds. We see when those people and there's something, we can step in to do. I think we all get that nudge and tingle. And yeah, we should definitely follow through it. And I think we all are. But it's just a question of what you want more.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, imagination is a tool. So it's only just like a practice tool and playing with the tool as far as taking the money out of it. But you can still visualize on the money. That's great. It's okay. It's totally okay. And I think anybody should be charging for their service, whether they're making art, music, or they're healing with their hands, or they're providing channeling, or they're providing BQHT, or whatever it is that they're doing. It's all working out fine.
I think what it is a lot of us are star seeds that are from somewhere where, we were able to just do art and not worry about it. So that's what I was talking to Jose about.
I totally do. The only thing is, I think, as it's just that external process is visualizing that it's an illusion. All question at bottom is what you want more. That's it. Is it what you want the most? Is that the God source within you, that work, that ascension, or the external things?
Right. You're not playing with your mute button, are you?
But what do you want more? Because you'll never be satisfied with those.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, but like I was saying with Jose, she was saying that she gets paid just enough to buy her art supplies back, but not any extra. And I was like, yeah, you got to, I'm not saying to price gouge, but to make enough to survive on it so you can keep making the art, because you got to be able to survive to keep doing it and buy your supplies again. So,
that's what I do. Yeah. I agree. Absolutely. I do not live above my means. I gave up my car. I gave up a lot of things. And not because I think money is satanic. It's because I wanted to take myself out of the control system as much as I could so that I could just create and not be always concerned with exterior, things. I've been there. I've been in that environment. I respect it. I've been a single mom with 3 kids. I respect it. Yeah. And I still respect and love, absolutely. And I like to be paid for my work too. So
sure.
It's just only practicing in our imagination. The only question is, what do I want more? Do I want money more? Or which some people do. Or do you want that peace inside and that connection, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's it. I can't wait to tell you about the healing that I had. I think I will leave that for the discussion on your show, because it was an amazing experience. Yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, brilliant. So, and a wonderful example, I think, of how intuitive we all are as well, to know when somebody, needs something, and when we can give, and when we can charge.
Right.
And that's up to us. And it's okay. It's okay. And other people's choices, it's okay.
And that's really up to an individual, if they want to do that, if they feel compelled or feel led in their heart. I mean, it's not something I feel like people should be, saying, hey, you need to give this person this for free or whatever. I think people should decide for themselves as the issues arise, they just feel compelled to do it. Because when they act out of their heart like that, it's going to work much better anyway,
And that's, that's exactly it, because she acted out of her heart by offering that. And we made a connection, finding that we've gone through, at least 3, I think it was like 3, quite a few past lives together, and she gave me some interesting information for you too. I can't wait to share. So,
awesome.
But, here I made a connection I never would have made before. And it's a new one that I haven't experienced yet. And it's new for her too. So, she was guided to reach out, and that was from the heart. Mm-hmm. She didn't expect to, receive the affirmations in return, and the experience in return that she did as well. She was giving, but what the gift ended up being to both of us was something you never would have guessed. Because your higher self's always got a better plan.
That is beautiful. That reminds me of the 8 at 8 thing that me and Eileen do, the power of intention, and the way Jenny in New Zealand got a healing from just sort of being this conduit for the healing energy going out to others. It wasn't even this it was the selfless service to others act that brought her healing to herself. Because we really are one at a certain level when you look at it. And if we can heal the world, through service to others, we'll be healed in return without it being a selfish reason to begin with,
Well, you know what I'm coming back to is what I brought up on the show again as well, is about us holding hands in the water,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
and that we really are holding hands. So, um, I think we're seeing a lot of things being shook up and questioned, and it really is bringing us back to that same question of what is it more important, what's inside or what's without. But it's totally up to us at what pace we want to do that. That's
Hmm.
completely up to the individual. So,
Right.
and we all should respect that. It doesn't, if it's not, it doesn't matter that that's not our place. That's their place, and really none of our business.
Oh yeah. And another thing I think
Really.
that we do with money is limit ourselves, which I was saying on that show when we
Mhm.
were talking, is like, well, I
Mhm.
can't do this because I don't have the money, and it becomes this blockage or this barrier between what we think
Mhm.
can be done, and we just see it as a blockage or a barrier, many of us. And I think, just to sort of look beyond that, because things can work out. We've seen
Yeah.
the impossible happen. So,
Exactly. And that is the very reason that I gave the suggestion, being an imagination warrior, right?
right,
Is
right.
to just use that tool as creative visualization. Well, you create or visualize whatever you want to create, right?
Yeah.
And that's totally up to you, and you be okay with that.
Hmm.
But our imagination being a powerful tool, it's really up to us what we want to put in that picture. So be open and then start expanding what that picture can be is really my only suggestion to that. Yeah. And
Amen
I
to
like
that, sister.
I like money. I just don't like most of the people that are
That's hoarding it, right? Don't like how it's being used, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. But it's a
it can be a
tool.
useful tool. Yeah, a
It's a
resource, a
tool.
useful
It's
tool.
not it's not the money that creates the good or the evil.
Right.
It's the determination by the person, right?
Yeah.
Who's either holding it or yearning for it, whatever it is. It's the individual's
Yeah.
perception, not the actual money itself.
Yeah. Like the internet. Like I was just saying, we could, be on this show hanging out or watching porn. It's still one tool.
Hope porn. Well, you know what? I
Hope
was just
porn,
about to
right?
make some more hope porn myself there, Shane.
Hope porn. I like that.
I can't
Oh
get
my
over that
gosh.
one. I
Yeah,
was like,
that
yeah.
was good.
I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna, create a show just for that. Hope porn.
Yeah, if people missed our show on Tuesday, we got all into the hope porn thing, so you need to go
Yeah.
catch up on that.
And just how these things, it's really about perspective,
Oh
and how
yeah,
some people have tried to flip our perspective. So, but I don't think we need to, you know, even worry about this between all of us anymore. Is I think we've kind of hashed this one out a few times, and at this point, I think we all pretty much understand that it's not the actual money that's good or evil. It's the individual perception and intention, and that's it.
yeah,
And we all have our equal individual right to that, and we don't have the right to judge anybody else's experience, just our own.
totally.
Even that you shouldn't be judging if you can. So, but yeah, it's just a matter of focus.
Well, I look forward to having you on Tuesday to hear the rest of that juicy information, of
I will.
course.
Yeah, me too, buddy. I just wanted to add to that. Make sure nobody was thinking that I hate money. No, that's not the case.
Oh, right, right. I totally got it.
God bless you, brother. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'll talk to you soon.
I love you too. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.
Let's see here. Did I hang up on you? Yeah. Oh, okay. She left the conversation. There's Enlightened Salt. Yeah, I haven't got to see Enlightened Salt and the caller there. Of course, that's Michelle Wolf from Tuesday. Sorry, I've got the number on the screen that's actually no good at all right now. I guess I could have taken it down. There we go. And I just heard my grandson's out there making a ruckus. He just got here, so I will probably fix my tech issues, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. We have the Power of 8 at 8, of course, with Eileen, and from one channel. That's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 1 a.m. If you are trying to figure it out from GMT time. So lots of love to everybody in the chat, lots of love and light, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.